Hey, what's up, Exit the Matrix family? Bob here. Sorry if you're probably going to be hearing some background noise throughout this video. Driving to work, and it's raining pretty good right now. I live in the Smoky Mountains, so it's pretty much a rainforest out here, and we get quite a bit of rain. So, anyways. The video I wanted to do today is a talk about that they're coming after our children, and this is a hard subject because I think we can all tell, those of us that are awake can see that most of their energy right now is being poured on the full frontal attack on our children. They understand that I'd say the mid to late 30-year-olds and up to about the 50-year-olds, though that is their problem age group there. Maybe we could say 30 to 50-year-olds. That is the age group that mostly rejects their New World Order, that rejects their propaganda. And there could be different reasons for that. Maybe because that's the generation that first was introduced to the internet, but it was also a generation that wasn't as invested in mainstream media, newspapers and television, nightly news and such. Now, obviously, there's always bleed over in all those age groups, depending on, religious background and, political ideology thinking and, other reasons, but I think you get the gist. The Gen X, we seem to be the ones that they hate the most because they can't control us as much as the other generations. The baby boomer generation, and I'm not saying all, but let's be real, most of them, they still believe that that the newspapers and the media cast is the truth. Like, they grew up in a generation where you trusted in the guy on TV telling you, what the news was. They trusted in the newspapers and the magazines, and so they're hopelessly invested in the Matrix for the most part. I mean, they're at that point in their life. Maybe some of them are starting to break out of the Matrix, awake, but very few. And I could be wrong, but I live in an area where more than 50% of the population is retired or close to retirement. And I could tell you, just completely oblivious people, man. Just, they still go to church every Sunday. Every morning they read their newspaper with their cup of joe. And every night before bed, they watch their favorite newscaster on CNN, Fox News, or MSNBC. And that is what shapes their reality. And then, of course, you got the youngest generation. Millennials, and what is the other one below them? It's the Zs, or I can't keep up with all that BS, but let's just say about the 15-year-olds up to the early 30-year-olds right now. There are some in those groups that are waking up, and thank God, they might be the ones that are going to actually carry the torch forward to fight against this. But they are under the heaviest attack out of anybody. They're the generation growing up with a phone in their hand, a tablet in their hand. They're the generation growing up eating food now that is almost 90% processed or GMO or both. They are the generation growing up with, during the time of the full frontal poisoning attack on humanity from every single angle, through our medicine, through our food, through the air, through the water, through our minds, through media and entertainment, music and such. They are the most attacked generation. Like I said, they understand that middle generation can't be swayed. We're rebels. The Gen X, a lot of Gen X are rebels. I'm not saying all, trust me. There's some bootlickers in the Gen X too. But what I do find is Gen X was still used to a world that, a world before the internet and the beginning of the internet, and then as it took on, same with cell phones. We were the generation in high school that thought it was cool to have a beeper, and remember you used to be able to send little text words, with your beeper and all that. I mean, I know it sounds funny to even think of now, but we've seen the beginning of cell phones. We've seen the beginning of Amazon and all these, online corporations and stuff that have now taken over our world. But we've seen enough of it to know that a lot of it's BS, We've seen a lot of the lies caught up by the media and everything. We've seen all the endless wars, and we understand that the wars have been for nothing but basically the collection of, or the theft of oil and gold from other countries, controlling drug markets worldwide, human trafficking, and one of their favorites, destruction, war. You destroy a country, and then you make money. You make money off destroying a country. Then you make money off rebuilding the country. We all seen that with Halliburton and the other companies that worked with the Bush administration, right, in Iraq and stuff, and Afghanistan. So war's a racket. But this younger generation, they're being propagandized like we've never seen. It was interesting. There's a lady on my Facebook Exit the Matrix page, and this morning I was going through a post, and she posted how her kid's school was sending out parental consent forms to allow their children to eat bugs in their school. Like, I kid you not. Of course, she, this lady being a follower of mine, she definitely did not sign the sheet, which makes you wonder if that's all just a formality, if they even follow that or not. But let's be real, these schools, they do everything they can behind the parents' back. They're sneaky, they're slime balls. But, that's where it's come, people. That's the generation they're targeting. Because they know the older generation's about ready to pass away, that easily manipulated generation. They know that mid-generation doesn't buy their BS anymore, so they have to go after the young generation. And, they're starting them on. This whole talk about eat the bugs, Uncle Charles, Uncle Claus, Santa Claus. Dumb asshole. He, everybody, of course, the WEF and the news media, they're trying to be like, this talk about the bugs is getting blown out of proportion. They're not trying to force everybody to eat bugs, Bullshit. Look, they're starting with the children. I guarantee you what you're going to see in the next 10 years is that more and more of the main products, the main ingredients in children's food is going to be bug protein. And while that's going on, they're going to be pushing propaganda on your children in school to high heaven about how fantastic bug protein is. And bugs are just as good or better than, beef and chicken and pork. Oh, yeah. It's better on the environment. See, that's another thing. These are cultists. pushing this climate propaganda. It's a cult, and they're right now they are inducting your children into their cult. They are prepping them, grooming them to be in this cult. They've got these kids believing that any day we're all going to die. They got these kids believing that one of the most important gases on Earth, which helps generate life and greenery and more oxygen on Earth, is bad. It's ridiculous, people. And there's so many adults. I mean, my brothers and sisters on the left, my God, please wake up. You are just as asleep as the brothers and sisters on the right that follow their state religions. I mean, you follow the cults. You follow their cults. You know? You follow the government cults of this climate BS and such. You all got to wake up, man. But your children are being propagandized right now. They are being brought up to hate themselves, to believe that they're the reason why the earth is a mess. Oh, these schools never tell these kids that the corporations that are funding this propaganda to push on the children are the ones that have polluted the earth, have polluted the land, the animals, the air, the water, the food. They're the ones polluting our bodies, our minds. They're not going to tell you that. They're being shown as the heroes. Oh, they're doing ESG and they have carbon. They clean up their carbon footprint. They do carbon credits. They buy carbon credits. They're fantastic corporations. When all these corporations, you follow it back through all the years, and you'll see that these are the corporations poisoning the earth. But we're being blamed for it. Oh, they talk about we use and consume too much, so we are the reason for the problems. They don't tell you that they design your products, or their products that they sell you, with planned obsolescence. What does that mean? It means that your phone is designed to break within a certain amount of years, a certain amount of time. You're lucky to get about 2 years out of a cell phone right now. A computer, unless you keep upgrading that sucker and pouring tons of money into it, a base bought computer, I'm not talking about it just, getting out of date as far as power and speed goes. No, that computer will bog down after all the updates and all the other crap. Eventually, you're lucky to get 5 years out of a laptop or a desktop. Your car is designed to break down. You're lucky. If you can get a car to 200,000 miles right now, you are lucky. Because most of these cars are designed to start breaking down after 100,000 miles. Why do you think they don't have warranties past that? Now, the truth is, we have the ingenuity, humanity does, to design products to last a long time and to be updated to keep up with newer speeds, faster speeds, better technology. We can design that. And of course, now that's part of their plan that they're going to bring in is that, we're going to have a system where nothing gets thrown away. Yeah, everything will be upgraded and renewed and recycled. They're the ones who are designing the products to break down. You see what I mean? Problem, reaction, solution. And I'm sorry, folks, I'm getting sidetracked. Let me get back to the children, because that is honestly what most of us care about, because we all know this world's fucked. But now, those of us that brought children into this world, we understand that it's on their backs, right? The debt. The debt, which that's another thing for another day. Who do we own this debt to? How is the whole world over $200 trillion in debt? And to whom? But guess what? That debt is on your child. When they're born, with their social security number, they are now an asset on the stock market. They're a human resource. They're a numbered cattle. They're a product. And now, what is it now? They're saying about $90,000 or so per baby born. The debt's already on them. As their body is a collateral for that debt. But what they're teaching these kids in school, destroying their morality, destroying their identity, confusing them about what they are, what they should be, propagandizing them to believe that insects is a viable food source, propagandizing them to live in a state of fear, believing like any day that this world's gonna like boil over and everybody's gonna die, that all the animals and plants are gonna die. It's absolutely sickening. And I get it, folks. Those of you that say the only way you can stop this is to get your kids out of the schools and to teach them at home. Hey, man, I get it. If you can do that, fantastic. You still got to look at the subjects they're teaching them, though, because I guarantee you, during that time when the kids had to be home, during that whole BS, during that whole project carried against us. If you can read between the lines what I'm trying to say here, or read between the words. When my kids were at home and they were having to do their schooling at home, I'm telling you, what used to be science, where you learned about the biology of plants and, and animals and all these earth sciences and stuff, plant and animal sciences, human science. Now, it's all been mostly replaced with just propaganda about this climate BS and shit, about sustainability and all this. And like I said, people, this is being funded by the same corporations that design your products to break down, so that they have to keep mining and producing more products, which causes more waste. Yes, they're the ones all of a sudden they're going to be the champions of this new economy where you don't own anything. You just, when something is getting worn out, you trade it in and they upgrade it, and you're renting it and you get it back, and it's fantastic. For that system to work, there's got to be a lot less of us, if you get what I mean. So, these kids are being poisoned. Their food that they feed them. There's been some studies done by people that have taken samples of the school meals that they feed your kid. I mean, geez, if your kids have to go to public school, at least send them lunches, because these lunches they're feeding them is like 90% have glyphosate in it. 90% of this is GMO junk, garbage, processed foods. It's no nutrition. It's poisoning the kids further. They're going to school, they're getting poisoned by the food. Their minds are getting poisoned with the propaganda. They're being taught to hate their country, hate their parents, hate this world. Not being taught to actually direct their angst against those who are destroying this world. No, away from those ones, they're being shown to be the champions. Yes, the demons are being... Your kids are being taught that the demons of this world are the good people. This is all... It's... The levels of depravity go so deep in this. I don't know, folks. I mean, the best you can do right now is to take your kids out of the schools. They're indoctrination camps. They're poisoning your kids' minds and bodies. And hey, I have a kid in school still. I try my best to feed him healthy. He plays sports. I teach him about all this stuff, but you know how teenagers are. they listen to a certain degree, but they think you're full of shit, a lot of times, because they never want to believe their parents, especially when you're trying to teach them some real hard truths about this world. And I get it. They don't want to grow up being afraid of this world, thinking and I try not to. You got to balance it out with empowering them too, teaching them to go within, to find the spark of divinity within, to connect with the source, with God. You got to teach them all that. You got to teach them how they can, consciously, energetically protect themselves and strengthen themselves against the outside world. But it's you can't protect your kids forever, people. We're past that, putting a bubble around your kids. They're in this world, and unfortunately they're in the worst era ever for this war against humanity. And I'm hoping there'll be a renaissance, that as AI gets pushed and all this gets pushed, that there'll be a renaissance for young people to leave the system and to go create new communities separate outside of the system. I'm starting to think that's the only way out of this, people, because this worldwide net, this worldwide matrix is the levels are so deep, people. Unless everybody woke up and found the Christ within, the connection, the divinity, the connection to source, and reawaken their spiritual abilities, which are basically known on the other side, outside of this construct, we could put an end to this real quick. We set aside our divisions between left and right, between Republican, Democrat, between, all these other control powers, what religion you're in, if you're an atheist or not. I mean, if we could put all that aside and stand united, at least understanding that we have ghouls, vampires, parasites, psychopaths running this world and trying to dismiss all of us, then we could fix things. But there's just, the attack is just full force right now. And I want to be an optimist, people. I really do. I just don't know if we're winning. And maybe this is how far we got to go to the brink to get enough people to wake up. But I think too many of us that do know what's going on, we're comfortable to kind of sit on our hands, because a lot of people that understand what's going on and can see this are still buying into like a savior. Well, it's okay. Jesus is coming. He's coming with the sword and with the host of heaven to overthrow these people. I'm just gonna chill. Or, I believe in rapture, which is not even in the Bible, but hey, I'm gonna get flown away and let everybody else get tortured on earth. Dude, you're getting tortured now. Wake up, dummy. Come on. You don't think you're being ruled by the devil now? Don't you understand the devil has always ruled this world? Oh yes, it's that Old Testament God. It's that Muslim God. It's those Hindu gods. Yeah, they're, guess what? Yeah, they're the devils. It's all it is a Nuna Anunnaki worship. Yeah, they're still controlling this world from behind the scenes. So, you're already in the land of the devil, buddy. It don't matter how many times you go to church and you listen to Pastor Dan, you're already there. For you on the left, it don't matter how many degrees you get, how much college, you go to, how many, if you're a bachelor or a master in something, all that means is that you're master propagandized. That you're a bachelor. Oh, you got a bachelor in this or that, but yet you're a total freaking controlled slave and you don't know it. You think you're educated. You think you're smarter than other people. You buy this climate cult probably because I'm an intellectual and science does not lie. Trust the science. I'm sorry, your God, yeah, you atheists out there, yeah, you think you're smarter than those on the right? The ones that worshiping these Anunnaki and these false gods and all that. Well, guess what? You're worshiping false gods too. You're worshiping psychopaths. You're a bootlicker. And a lot of you on the left, you try to justify, all that with, well, I'm spiritual. I'm a spiritual person. I do yoga. I eat vegan. I got crystals and, I do all this spiritual stuff. That doesn't make you any more spiritual than some bum on the streets getting drunk every night. You know what? You are a spirit, dummy. And a lot of you that on the left are saying all that, a lot of you don't even believe that, Like, well, we don't have no proof that, we're spirits. I can only believe what could be measured and, tested and all that. I mean, this whole world's an illusion. What are you testing? You're testing a simulation? Well, do you realize that simulation has unseen layers of it too, right? Anyways, folks, I'm not going into tons of detail on what they're doing to your children because let's be real, these platforms, they don't like that because they are backing what they're doing to your children. So, I'm trying to keep it as vanilla, but make the point as much as I can, if you get where I'm coming from. We're also censored heavily because we're coming into an age where they realize that the genie's out of the box, and some of us have seen the genie, and we understand. And so now they're trying to control those of us, and it's called damage control. And they trust me, they know what they're doing to your children, and they're backing it. A lot of these teachers that are teaching your kids, if you knew what they truly believed and what their plans are for your children, you would not have your kids in these schools. And it's hard. I get it. If my wife and I could have done that and homeschooled our kids, we would have. So I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here. I get it. I'm like with you, those of you that just can't, because maybe you got to work too much and you don't have a way to get around it. You can't afford to have one of the adults at home doing the homeschooling. I do get that there's groups of parents that get together to do homeschooling, like as a group thing, like a miniature school. That's fantastic. If you can figure out how to do that, how to organize things like that, I wish we could have. We didn't. But at least I've been teaching my two boys, since they were old enough to get some of these concepts. I've been teaching them the truth, at least as much as I've known and learned over the years. So they're probably a little more advanced than a lot of young adults and kids are right now. They're probably understand more than a lot of adults do. To be honest, probably more than most of adults do. But do what you got to do to protect your children, people, because your children, you got to start cooking home meals. You got to get away from fast food. You got to get away from these cereals. It'd be better off just sending your kid to school, honestly, with some organic fruit, or better yet, we're actually designed to eat less meals. Humans now, we eat so much, and it's because our food is nutrition depleted. I usually don't even eat until lunch. I'll eat a small lunch and then dinner. But a lot of people now are down to eating just one meal a day. It's actually better on your gut and your digestive system. I mean, look at how overweight most of Americans are. They eat too much, and they eat junk. They eat poison. They don't eat simple. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not telling you how to do things. I'm just saying I've learned. Every time I start to put on a little weight, I notice when and I'm active. I like to hike. My job, I'm always active in my job. But we're poisoned all the time. Everything we eat and drink. I've simplified most of what I eat now. Occasionally, yeah, sometimes we have soccer late and we do grab fast food. I get it. I'm a normal person just like you. And I get it. When I'm eating that, I understand that it's poison. You can pray over your food though. There's things you can do to protect yourself against it. Your body is amazing. It'll listen to you. It's it connected into the quantum field. So maybe tomorrow I'll do a video on some things you can do to protect yourselves against all these onslaughts, energetically speaking, because we got to start putting on some armor, folks. We got to start eating better, simplify your meals, try to eat as much organic as you can, stay away from the GMOs, stay away from processed stuff, cook from scratch. I know it sucks having to cook every night, but I'm telling you, it helps a lot. But stop drinking. I stopped drinking pop. I used to love Coke and Pepsi. And it's funny because now, on the rare occasion I get a Coke or a Pepsi, it tastes like poison. It has like a chemical taste. It doesn't even, I don't even know if it tastes like it used to when I was a kid. I'm sure it's just been ratcheted up, the poison in it, just like everything. I mean, you look at cereals you ate as a kid. I remember I used to love Lucky Charms when I was a kid, in the 80s. Still wasn't good for you, right? It's still processed food, but it tasted better. I don't know. It tastes, now I tried Lucky Charms recently. It tasted like cardboard and poison. I mean, it doesn't even taste like food. I mean, it's time that we realize this stuff. But hey guys, I will talk to you later. I appreciate you guys. You have a good day.